Hello, welcome everybody. Hey everyone on Instagram land and on Facebook land. Happy Tuesday or whatever day it is when you are joining me if you're checking out the replay. So I decided to go live today because I've been having a few conversations with people that have been coming up, and there's this question of people who are feeling called to become healers. A lot of people who've gone through their own journey of healing slash are going through their own journey of healing want to then take what they've learned and share that with others. And this is a really common thing for how people become healers. And so I'm going to be talking today about the differences between a more traditional path of academia in psychotherapy versus the more alternative paths of becoming a healer or a coach. And I just kind of want to open with there's a place for everything. And, there are the people out there who are meant to receive help in a certain way from certain people. And so it's really a matter of educating yourself, understanding the differences, and recognizing what you feel called towards. And this is also for anyone who is considering different treatment options for their own well being, be that mental, emotional, spiritual, or even physical. To understand what kinds of options are available to you, what to watch for in each area, and all different kinds of things to consider. So I just feel like it's easier sometimes to have a conversation with you all and really unpack these concepts so that we can dig in a little more. So today, the path of traditional academia, psychotherapy versus alternative forms of healing. And welcome everybody who is joining me. Feel free to drop in the chat where you're joining me from. And if you have questions along the way, I love hearing them. I'm happy to speak to them. I've obviously followed the path of alternative healing, and I can speak to what I know about like academia and psychotherapy, and that's as far as I'll go. If I don't have an answer, obviously I'm not going to try to answer that, but I can tell you what I know and the depth of what I know in the work that I do and the differences that I've found, that I've heard from my clients, feedback I've gotten from people who've done both, and what that was like for them. So, when I talk about the traditional path, it's more of the academic path of going to school to get a master's or a doctorate of psychology or psychotherapy, which takes 6+ years. And there's a lot of education, there's a lot of book learning, there's a lot of academic speak and traditional ways of teaching and learning, and a lot of history of psychology, a lot of understanding how psychology works in our physiology and the brain. And it's more of a, if I was going to put it energetically, more of a masculine approach where it's kind of more structured, very governed. There's not a lot of flexibility within that path. Is more of a traditional, very clearly laid out approach. And alternative forms of healing and coaching, it is quite varied. It is a place where things can innovate very quickly because it is not governed by a regulated body. The other side of that is you really have to do your research and find people who are in integrity, who are learning how to help others, who understand how to hold space and use tools to facilitate change in a way that people feel safe, while being in integrity. So while there's a lot more space to innovate because it is not controlled by a governing body, we also have to be more discerning to make sure those you are working with are in integrity. And a lot of that is personal discernment. And that's also needed when you're working, of course, with a therapist or you're going down that path. The individual that you work with is really how you feel with them, how safe you feel with them, and how they help you. And that there's some people who are going to be a fit with the right person, but not another person. Healers, coaches, therapists, the whole gamut. Some people need a very certain kind of medicine from a certain person that would be like oil and water to somebody else. So it is very much connecting in and feeling through What feels right for me? And I say feeling through because I feel like that is a more reliable source, connecting with your body, connecting with your heart, versus the mind, versus the ego. Because the mind can get swept up in belief systems and a lot more cultural imprinting and ideologies and what um, the ego feels it should do versus what is actually right for you. And your heart can guide you with that. And it's a much bigger electromagnetic field. There's a lot more information that comes from the heart in terms of what is right for you as a soul, as an individual being, versus what's not. So the mind can get a lot more easily swept up in thoughts and dogma and cultural imprinting. um, so there's different styles of learning. So if you're considering becoming a healer, if you go the traditional path, there is a very, I will say, rigid. My partner recently kind of dug into this style of being taught in um, academia, and that's a lot of book learning, it's a lot of academic speech, it is a lot of lectures, versus the more alternative path is the work that I've done and how I've learned. It's very experiential. There is theory, there is book learning, but it's spoken in a way that is easily understood and can be easily implemented so that you can understand it on an experiential level. And when I teach students in my program, in the Medicine Within program, where we learn this method of healing that is an infusion of many modalities, it is very focused on experiential understanding and implementation. Because it's one thing to understand up here, it's another thing to know it and become it. And when you know it and become it, that really enables you to be someone who can help facilitate incredible change because it's what you've already stepped through yourself. When you understand it on a physical level with your whole being, that's much more than understanding something intellectually. So one is very mind-based. So academia is obviously very mind-based. Traditional talk therapy is very mental and verbal, auditory. It's a way of processing things with the mind, and there's absolutely a place for that. It is more focused on, and before I jump into that, the more alternative paths tend to be more holistic, more intuitive. It is more of a feminine approach because it is a very old method of healing in many ways. The methods that are carried forward as far as energy work, as far as feminine intuition, it is more of an intuitive base, which is more spiritual. It is more connected with the body and the whole of the being. Traditional therapy is more around diagnosing and prescribing. Not always, not every therapist. There are some that go deeper, but there's the diagnostics manual, which is all about different pathologies, and it is largely about looking at what kind of issue does this person have, how might we medicate it, and talking about it and helping the person to process and understand how their mind works, ways they can cope with that and deal with that, and then possibly prescribe medication for that, which I'm not against, by the way. It is totally, can be absolutely helpful to find medication to help you while you are doing the work on the root causes, because obviously it won't heal the root, it will just mask the symptom. I feel like I'm talking a lot, so I'm going to take some big breaths. It's calming from my heart. So diagnose and prescribe versus, I'm going to call this reconnect and redirect. So in a lot of forms of hypnotherapy, for example, it's about learning where does the root of this come from through connecting with the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind is interwoven throughout the whole of the physical body. So you can create a conversation with the subconscious and thereby an aspect of something going on physically, a symptom in the body or any kind of illness, and understand the psycho-spiritual reasons for that being there. So is the mind helping to manifest this in the body because it believes that this illness will serve them in some way? And that's called secondary gain, how a problem is actually serving you. And there can be all kinds of secondary gains. It can be a way of getting attention. It can be a way of avoiding something more painful, like public speaking, as an example. There's all kinds of things that can come from the problems that get manifested in our body, minds, and hearts. So, through the subconscious, we have the ability to understand all those reasons so that the mind can become aligned in shifting them and redirecting them and healing those reasons kind of at the core of where they began, because your subconscious also connects you to all of your memories. So you can find out where this issue started, why it started, and from the connection with the whole body and the subconscious, redirect it to health, to well-being, to release all of the energetic elements of that, to let that go. So we have the technology, and this has been found for a long time through hypnosis, to be able to enter these trance states and with effective tools create a conversation with these aspects of ourselves and shift them in a very gentle but very core place. Traditional therapy is more mental and verbal, versus alternative therapies can be mental, spiritual, somatic, verbal, energetic. There's a lot more layers beyond just thinking and talking, as you may have found. I worked with a client who said that she felt so much better and shifted so much after one session than she did in 10 years of talk therapy. So, not to bash talk therapy, but this was my client's experience. And the limitation with just talking about something is it doesn't go down into the layer of the body, the layer of the energetic field, the layer of the spirit. What could be happening? Could there be attachments with other people, other energies that are draining this person, that are influencing this person? Could there be attachments through past lifetimes? Could there be, there's all kinds of things that can be happening on an energetic layer. So maybe it's something has been mentally, verbally processed, but it didn't get to the core of where that is in the body, where that is in the person's energetic field, perhaps what's going on in their soul, and what karma they might have, what kinds of soul contracts they may have created. It goes a lot deeper. And when you can get to that deeper depth of understanding and shifting things from that place, then there's a different layer of healing and understanding that comes with that, obviously. And that can go a layer much deeper than many people have been able to access before just by talking about it. That's just the layer of the mind, which there's absolutely a place for, but limited. So there's also this other side where our society is kind of geared towards, we have a problem, get therapy, which is great. Like, people should get therapy. But it means that if you go down the route of becoming a therapist, there are going to be systems in place that will enable you to find clients coming to you. Now, if you go down the route of becoming a healer or a coach in a more non-traditional route and following more feminine aspects of healing, more innovative aspects of healing, more very old aspects of healing, shamanic healing, for example, then you're becoming an entrepreneur as well as a healer, unless you start working for another clinic and they hire you. But most people will become an entrepreneur as well. So while you can learn and implement the tools of more innovative, more alternative, and holistic healing more quickly a lot of the time, then there's that time of learning how to nurture and culture a community of people that you're meant to serve, how to stand in your authenticity, how to speak your truth, how to provide value to those people. And so that's all marketing. So learning how to connect with the people who are meant to work with you and invite them to work with you through service, through your authentic energy, through showing up for them. And so while it can take much longer in academia, some of that time can then go into learning and understanding how to be an entrepreneur and how to be of service and nurture and support your community as a healer. And so that in and of itself is a call to stand in your own power, to learn how to communicate effectively, how to be of service, how to be visible, and overcome personal blocks you might have around money and around being seen, around business. So that is a continued journey of personal growth, understanding, and healing and evolution. And as you step through each one of those doors, then you grow more, you learn more, you understand how to be of service more. So I like to look at that as part of your schooling, part of your education when it comes to learning how to become a healer, because you can learn the tools much more quickly because it is more focused and condensed learning style and teaching style, where it's focused on understanding and implementation, less on history, on academia, on more kind of mind-based aspects. So it can be a lot more efficient, but then there is a continued growth and journey of being visible, of being authentic, of standing in your power and being of service to your community, which I personally think is beautiful and part of the personal growth journey. And with that, there's a lot more flexibility. So, as a governing body, if you follow the route of becoming a therapist, there's a lot more limitations on how you can work, where you can work, who you can serve, where they live, and just because there's a lot more control on that, what you can charge. Whereas in alternative healing and coaching, it is a non-governing body, so that gives us the ability to work how and where and when we desire, for whom we feel called to work with, and how we choose to structure our work, our services for people. And there's a lot more flexibility within that. There's also the capacity to innovate very quickly because we're not controlled in how we work. So as we learn tools and things and practices that are very helpful for people, we can implement that right away. And there's more opportunity for innovation to grow there. With that, of course, there's the call to be in your authenticity, to be in your integrity, because there's also the opportunity to earn quite a bit more financially in innovating and working with multiple people and being of service in a larger way that don't have the limitations of a governing body imposed on them. So doing that while being in authenticity, while being in integrity, then that's all part of that journey. And so I had people who were asked, like, what kinds of certifications do you have, and this and that, are you qualified to be helping others? And something that came to mind, and when I work with my students, they do get certified in multiple things: hypnosis, NLP, life coaching, somatic healing, integrative healing. There's a lot that comes with that, but at the end of the day, it's not a certification that makes you a good healer, that makes you able to create transformation with somebody. It's not a certification, a diploma, a master's, a doctorate. None of that is what makes you very good at helping to change lives. What makes you good at that is who you become in your growth journey and your capacity to be a witness to another, to hold a space in which they feel very safe to unfold and release and reconnect with themselves, to be adept at tools, to have mastery in your skill and your craft through implementation and practice with others and with yourself. So it is who you become. And people who have done some of the greatest work around the world haven't followed the path of academia. For example, Byron Katie had an awakening when she was 40 and found this method of cognitive behavior therapy that enables you to challenge very painful beliefs and rapidly release them. And she's helped millions of people in a profound way all over the world. Eckhart Tolle also had an awakening experience, no formal education and healing, and he's helped millions of people around the world. So it is really about becoming and then gaining mastery over your craft and your tools, being in your authenticity and integrity, and being able to hold space and guide others through their path home to themselves and to reconnecting with who they are and healing from that core of that place through that connection. So, and if you guys, and if anyone is either looking to become a healer or get clarity on your path or get support in healing, I do have a free 3 day guided journey coming up starting on Friday. I'll drop, for those of you on Instagram, you can check out my link tree or the link in my bio. And you can sign up right there. It is totally free to join. And I'll drop the link in the chat for those of you on Facebook. But this is a really great way to get clarity on your unique medicine. That's what we're doing the first day is original medicine activation. So we all come into this world with a unique medicine that only you have by being the fullest expression of who you truly are. And it is all about activating that on Friday. We're going to do a lot of energy clearing as well so that you can drop into that more easily, because all of the energies that we collect from other people, from the collective, from other things that happen, that really obscures and obstructs your ability to connect with and see your authenticity in your unique medicine. So we're going to do some rapid clearing on the stuff that's been weighing you down. You can find that on Saturday. We're going to be doing a healing journey using the Medicine Within framework that I teach my co-training students. It's a very powerful methodology that incorporates a holistic blend of life coaching, of neurolinguistic programming, of shamanic healing, of hypnotherapy, of somatic healing. So you're going to experience some of that through a healing journey. And people have said, some of the feedback I've gotten on this journey last time we did this is that before they started, they had pain all over their body. After the journey, the pain was all gone. Clear understandings of things with family, like deep processing and healing comes from this journey, and it's totally free. So if you can come, definitely come. If you can't join live, and sign up and you can catch the replay. Sunday is all about connecting with your higher self, your future self, seeing what your divinely guided life looks like when you are in that flow, when you are doing your soul work, when you're sharing what you're meant to be sharing. And you're going to find out what it looks like, what it feels like, who you're doing it with, where you're doing it, and what was the next step to get there from where you are now. So it's going to be a lot of understanding and clarity downloaded from your higher self so that you can know what to do next. Because I feel like when we get lost, in my experience, the mind can kind of want to ask everyone else outside of us, like, what do I do? What am I meant to be doing? But nobody else is going to know the way that your soul knows, because your soul knows why you came into this world, what you came here to do. So it's really about establishing the connection with your soul, with your higher self, and letting that information come directly to you, taking out any middlemen or anyone else's ideas and projections or assumptions of what's right for you, and finding out from within, from the clearest source there is, from your higher self, what is right for you, what is next for you. So you're going to learn how to do that on day 3. So that's called Sacred Calling, and you can find the link either in the chat on Facebook or in my bio on Instagram. And it's going to be amazing. It's our second time doing it. The first time was beautiful and incredible. And at the end, you're going to be able to learn more about the Medicine Within method for anyone who wants to continue working with me. So definitely check that out and join live if you can. It's from 10 to 11 Mountain Time in the morning each day. But if you sign up, you can also access the replays. And I encode the energy in every journey, so that's going to be just as powerful if you experience it in the replay versus live. But of course, coming live is very special. Then you can share, you can ask questions, and be part of the community. So, and if you guys are interested as well in the Medicine Within method, in this training that I offer, then you can drop healer in the chat and I can add you to the wait list, where you're going to also be getting access to special bonuses for people who are on that wait list. Medicine Within method, it is a framework for guiding people through very direct and potent healing using a specific set of tools that you guide people through. And it also allows space for intuition, for the feminine to come through. And that's where a lot of healing happens very quickly and very gently, through a deeper sense of knowing, connection with your higher self, connection with spirit, the higher self of your client. There's a knowing within each of us. And so in Medicine Within, we learn how to drop into that as someone that holds space, and also for your own personal healing. So it is a lot about experiential learning, live practice and feedback with me, and group support in your own personal healing journey as well, so that you can rapidly let go of what's been weighing you down and connect in with your visibility, with purpose, with anything that you need to be a successful healer in the world and serve who you're meant to be serving. So, thank you guys for listening. It's always beautiful to connect with you. For those of you who are joining me in Sacred Calling, I can't wait to see you on Friday or whichever day you're able to join. It's going to be amazing and beautiful. It always is. And I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Bye.